Blog Talk Radio.
At the turning point, messages are heard within resonance field. Life calls us to serve. Life calls us to serve. Life calls us to serve. Wheel of heaven spins, lights of sky, images within. Love opens, giving heart on green fields of white stone. On green fields of white stone. On green fields of white stone. Call to heal, I am becoming real. All is all that is, all is all that is, all is all that is. I am the call to heal, I am becoming real. All is all that is, all is all that is. That is. Dreamer, remember to dream. Vision, magic, conjure spirit wind. Sacred circles of light and love, following pathways around and round. Around and round, around and round. I am the call to heal, I am becoming real. All is all that is, all is all that is, all is all that is. Call to heal, I am becoming real. All is all that is, all is all that is, all is all that is. Angels and gateways guiding sound. From root to ground, shimmering radiance like beams, opening energy, receiving ground, receiving ground, receiving ground. Call to heal, I am becoming real. All is all that is. I am the call to heal, I am becoming real. All is all that is. All is all that is. Suns, converging streams, becoming one. Sacred circles of light and tone, on green fields of white stone, on green fields of white stone, on green fields of white stone. visions of radiance will. Light is always blessed. Light is always blessed. Light is always blessed. All is all that is.
Again, Miss Magical is definitely an angel among us with her beautiful music and her angelic voice. She definitely has a choir of angels behind her whenever she sings. Today is definitely going to be an interesting show, most definitely. I've been looking forward to it for quite a while. And we have my dear brother in the spirit, Cairo in England, is our co-host today. Say hi, Cairo.
Hello, everyone.
And then I'm not sure, I think it's, Joseph was running a little bit late. I'm not sure if this is him. 818-849, is that you, Joseph?
That was me. How you doing?
Okay.
Good morning.
Great. Welcome to the show.
Welcome, everybody.
Yeah, this is going to be a fun show. I hope you're energized and ready.
Always ready, brother. We are born ready.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, the song I played is by Miss Magical, which is a very close friend of mine in Cairo's. It was the turning point, which is definitely what we're all about. And the turning point from the old paradigm, the old way of being, to the new. Hello.
Hello.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
yeah. So, what? Tell us a little bit about your original inspiration to create the Anastasia communities and all that. How did it all begin?
Oh my gosh. It's interesting that you asked me that question because that's the question that came to me. I believe it was yesterday, the day before. You'd be asking me something like that. And what I thought about is, well, there's the practical part of it, and then there's the spiritual, a part of how it all started. So what is it that you would like me to share? Do you want me to tell you the spiritual part of how it came about, or do you want me to tell you the practical part?
Well, why don't we do it all? We'll start with the spiritual, and then we'll go to the practical, because they're both equally important.
Okay, well, the spiritual part is a little bit intense, and, but it is what it is, okay? So it's a nice story for those of you that have not listened to our radio show, Anastasia's radio show, or have not gotten into our websites and followed us. It'll be this story will be a little bit intense, and I'm not trying to make it intense, but it may be difficult to believe for some people, but it's truth. It's just the way it came about. And I'll keep it in a nutshell, and I'll try not to over-spiritualize it. I'll try to keep it down to earth as much as possible. But if you were to go, Mark and Cairo and all of you, wonderful listeners, if you were to go to Anastasia's radio station, which is payitforwardradio.org, or the website, which is payitforwardcommunities.org, you would find an MP3 in there called Tree of Life Vision. And you can just click on and hear the whole story. But in a nutshell, in 1978, Mark, this is pretty amazing. In 78, when I was just a kid.
I was born in 78.
Well, yeah, 1,000 years ago, right? Now I'm just a big kid, right? In 1978, I'm just a little boy, a young man, actually, and I keep having this one solitary dream. It's a recurring dream. It happens just over and over. It was this dream went on for like a month, and almost every night I'm having the same dream. So after a while, this dream gets my attention because at first it didn't matter to me. I guess I was so childlike that I wasn't even thinking about anything when I saw the dream. So it was just like a dream. I didn't have any, I didn't have anything going on in my mind other than what a 17, 18-year-old would have in his mind at that age. Today, I know the difference between a vision that's significant or just a dream because I had too much pizza or something, before I went to bed. You follow me?
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess maybe that's why I needed to have that dream over and over and over and over. Well, eventually, because that dream kept hitting me, I don't know why, but I started asking questions about, spiritual questions. For me, in my mind, the dream was I thought it was that my band had made it big and that I was going to be a rock and roll star, because at that time I had my long hair and running around on my Harley, and I'm thinking, wow, I'm going to make it big, because the dream I was in front of a multitude of people. I'm just talking just a countless amount of people. And they were watching me, and I was with a group of people, and I was on a stage. And so, I figured, wow, man, my band made it big. I'm going to be a rock star. But, I didn't become a rock star, and I asked spiritual questions. Things began to happen, after I began to ask myself those spiritual questions. A lot of things, on the good side and on the bad side. And the funny thing about it is, it's almost as if the dark side started becoming a little bit active, because I saw some really, really strange things that probably I'll save for another day. But the focus of how Anastasia came about is that one day I came home. It was early in the evening, and there was somebody in my house. And it wasn't anybody evil. I mean, it wasn't like an enemy or anything. It was a friend. But darn it, I could not find who it was. But, it was one of those situations where the presence was so strong that you knew there was someone there. You know what I'm talking about, guys?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes. Yeah, definitely.
And Guy, you would have laughed if you'd have caught that on America's, funniest home videos or whatever, because I'm looking around all over the place, inside the house. I'm thinking that one of my real good friends, was playing a trick on me, maybe going to scare me or something. So I'm seriously looking in the closets and under the bed. Hey, everybody, I even looked in the refrigerator. Okay, which is ridiculous, I know, but that's how sure I was that someone was in my house. I even went outside to see if they were outside watching through the window, and I didn't see anybody, so I walked back in the house. Okay, finally, I'm not looking around for anybody, but, I just wondered, because I was convinced somebody was in that room. And
You're sounding garbled electronically. Did you call in from Skype or something electronically?
What was that?
No, you're sounding electronically garbled. And how did you call in? Through what means?
Sounds okay to me.
No, I'm actually calling from a landline.
All right.
Sounds fine to me.
You know what? Maybe I should call through Skype. It might be clearer. What do you think?
No, Skype is a problem. Maybe that's my issue. All right, I'll just keep talking. I'll take care of it. Just keep going.
Okay, and thank you for sharing that, Mark. I hope it gets that taken care of. And listeners, I hope you have a quick connection on that. Okay, so I'm hearing a bunch of beeps and stuff now. But you asked me to keep talking, so I'm going to keep talking. Listeners, I hope we're still connected over there. I guess I'm going through technical stuff on my side.
I can hear you anyway.
Okay, you can hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So as I'm in my house, all of a sudden I start seeing things that a young man would want. So Cairo, you remember being a young man. You would want a nice house. You would want fancy, fast cars, lots of money. Let's not forget the beautiful women part. And this is what I started seeing. I just started seeing everything that I could possibly want right there, and in the greatest in fashion that I could possibly have. The most beautiful women, a bunch of money, all these houses, and a bunch of cars. And
but this was like a manifestation or a vision?
This was just, I guess I would say, I wouldn't even say a vision. It was more like a thought, but I could see it in my mind.
Oh.
It didn't feel that spiritual. It was just like the thought, but it was real crystal clear. And so when I'm looking at it, I'm going, oh, wow. But then the strongest question hit me, and I mean it was profound inside my heart. It was the question, and then what, Joseph? And then what? Got to turn off my cell phone over here, otherwise it's going to keep ringing.
Yeah, it's like my uncle. He's got all of those things. Drives around in Bentleys, and he's a he's a billionaire. But he can't find happiness. He can't find happiness for himself.
At all.
No.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, I mean, happiness is through, I think, through co-creating and being with others of like mind and consciousness that really love and support you, that you can share your true self with. Like Cairo and I do all the time. We mutually love and support each other. Because we're brothers, and we know it, we feel it, we are it. We're
very
family,
good.
Spiritual family.
It seems the more people drift into materialism, the more they are shut off from the spirituality part. They've closed themselves off to that.
Very good. So guys, that question, then what, Joseph? But remember, I'm just a kid at the time. I'm 18-year-old. I'm full of adventure, ignorance, inexperience, and I want to experience everything. And I want all that stupid stuff that I saw, all of that vanity. At that time, of course, I wanted that vanity. But when that question hit me, then what, Joseph? It hit me so hard that it made me think like, it made me realize for the first time in my life that this vanity stuff is really not all that it's cut out for.
Right.
And guys, it was so strong. Now, if all of you can listen, remember when you were 18 years old, boys, girls, men, women out there, you remember what you were thinking.
Right.
Okay, so that's what I was thinking, the same stuff. But then that question hit me so deep. Then what, Joseph? So what about all this stuff, all this vanity stuff, all this freaking materialism? Then what? Is this it? Is this what you're working for?
Right.
And the answer was obvious. Well, guys, I got on my knees and I just kind of started talking to God as I understood God. And I remember what I said. I said, God, is this you trying to talk to me? Because I sure wish I did know. But I don't know if this is my imagination. I don't know what's going on, but this is profound. And I really, really would like to know, because I don't know if you exist or don't exist. I don't know if what I was taught is just a bunch of, garbage, or if it's real. I wouldn't know what to turn to. Which religion? Is it Buddha? Is it Baptist? Is it Methodist or Mormon or Jehovah's Witness or Catholic or born-again Christian or what? I wouldn't know where to go. And I'm not even finished talking, and then you guys, nobody has to believe this at all. Okay, you don't have to believe it, but Jesus Christ comes into my room. Now, this is not like a vision.
I've had that happen to me last year.
Yeah, but this was no longer. I mean, remember, I'm not seeing this in my mind anymore, and I'm not asleep having a vision type of a dream.
Well, when it happened to me, I was asleep, and he walked in and he woke me up, and he was kneeling down, speaking to me. And when I woke up from that, I could still feel the presence of, godly presence that was there after he went.
Well, then I'm glad I'm not the only one that's talking about this stuff. And I know we're not. I know we're not the only ones that have had encounters with God. And I'm glad we're not the only ones. Otherwise, we'd be in a funny farm for sure. But Jesus Christ came into my room. I'm wide awake, and with his hands, stretched out, like to embrace me. Immediately, I don't know what to think. I mean, I'm beyond awe is not the right word. I'm just in another dimension of emotion, looking at him.
It's like a father and a child. That's how it felt with me. Like he was a father and I was a child.
So what I did is I just said, "Why'd you take so long? This is what I wanted." And then I heard his voice inside my chest area. Okay, I could see him. I'm looking, he's in front of me. So, but I did not see his mouth move, his lips or anything. He did not move his face. So, in other words, I couldn't see him say anything physically, yet I'm hearing his voice physically. However, I didn't hear his voice with my physical ears. Okay, I didn't hear it with my ears at all. I heard when he said, "I've been with you always," I heard that inside my chest area of my body. And it was an awesome voice. And he said, "I've been with you always." Well, that's what he said. But the experience that I felt the moment that he said, "I've been with you always," and I heard it inside my chest. Now, listeners, whatever you're doing right now, please refocus back on the conversation, because here's where Anastasia comes in. But I didn't know it back then. Okay, guys, the moment Jesus says to me, "I've been with you always," and remember, I'm not in church, okay? We're not having a church conversation here. We're having a life conversation right now. All of us are, together, wherever we are. Well, what happens is, I hear him say, "I've been with you always." Immediately, everybody, I feel what all-inclusive is all about. I didn't have the words back then, all-inclusive, and I wouldn't even understand what happened in this visitation that I had till 2010 on the day of January 9th at approximately 7 a.m. when I was in a fatal vehicle accident, and my best friend in that country that I was in at that time, which was head of our public relations for a different company, not Anastasia, and his name was Gabriel Corrales. We were in an accident. I died first. Then I came back. Gabriel died afterwards because the paramedics didn't get there in time because we were in a remote area. Well, when I died on January 9th, 2010, and went over into the light, and by that time I was, 50 years old or 51? I would have to do the math on it. At that point, when I went into the light, finally, I understood the visitation that I had in 1978. So now, all these years in my life was just preparation, getting me ready for where Anastasia comes in. But now let me go back to the vision, okay? All these years, remember, it took me all these years for me to finally understand the vision. Okay, now, guys, again, I'm going back to the vision in 1978. So when Jesus says to me, "I've been with you always," instantly, I felt connected to everything and everybody. Instantly. And I mean, the connection was such a contrast to the way I had been living all my life. At that time, I'm 17, 18 years old. And I had not lived a connected life. I was just like a solitary. My perception and my training and my experiences up until that day had been about maybe not belonging or not knowing the area or the people or wanting to fit in, not knowing what love was, because love is all inclusive. And I was living kind of a separated, individualistic, isolated existence. So when Jesus said, "I've been with you always," the moment he said that, I felt a connection to everything and everybody. And I mean with everything and everybody, guys. I'm not talking about just people and my pets. No, I'm talking everything.
Yeah, I've
Everybody.
experienced that connection as well.
A complete connection that all spiritual people understand. But as a kid, I didn't understand. I'd never heard about it. And this is beyond a teaching that you might hear from somebody like Jesus or Gandhi or Buddha or any of the great teachers. I'm not saying one is greater than the other or lesser than the other or anything, because everybody has a role.
But you can tell when you can feel it from the core of your being, the core of your soul, and the source God, creator consciousness within your soul. You can feel it. You know it. It's your purest natural state of being.
And I had this, and it was all happening. But if you can imagine the intensity of this moment, I could feel connected to the diamonds in the earth. I could feel connected to the oil down there, the fossil, the crude oil that's being pumped out, and I won't go into the details of that whole industry, but I could feel connected to the air. I could feel the connection to the humidity in the air that goes up to the altitudes where the cold kicks in and begins to condense that humidity so that it forms droplets or clouds first, then droplets, and then the rain, which cleans up the contamination in the air so that we can breathe fresh air, after the rain. And then all that contamination comes down, and then the earth acts as a filter as the water goes down into the aquifers and then comes up, as natural springs, and goes back down into rivers, and then eventually the ocean, and then the whole process starts all over so that we can stay alive in water. I could feel that connection. And it was amazing. Everything was all-inclusive. And my friends, that's where Anastasia was born. Then it went further. He showed me. I'm really making this visitation very short, and I'm making a longer version of it, and it'll be in all of our different medias that we have online. Then it changes, and it goes into a park. And the interesting thing to note that in this park there was no clouds and there was no sun. Okay, and those of you that are scholars, you go in and you'll see that this stuff is verifiable in the manuscripts, and that make up what is known as the Bible today. So there was no more sun, there was no clouds. Okay, because remember at one time it didn't used to rain. I'll get away from all the doctrine stuff, but no sun, no clouds. I'm in this garden. I'm not in it. I'm looking at this garden, and I see this tree of life, or this tree with a bunch of different fruit on it. Well, this tree is rooted or grounded or planted, whatever, in this river. Well, this river is made of light. It's a river. It's water, but it's light. Okay, you remember that Jesus taught that out of your belly or out of your being shall flow rivers of light. So that's where this tree of life was grounded. It was grounded in the river of life. Now remember, I'm 18 years old. I'd never done the church thing prior to this. So all these things that I'm seeing, it was original input, direct by the master into me as a being. Later in life, when I went on to study and I did become a scholar, then I understood, oh my God, I saw this. So a lot of the stuff that I would learn eventually came to me way afterwards, and especially the the all-inclusive thing came to me, January 9th, 2010. So the Tree of Life, to give you an idea, and that's why we have that logo of a tree with light coming out of it. As that's why we use that as our logo. If you guys were to ever look at a tree and grab your coffee or your beer or your water, whatever you're going to drink, and just go kick back under a tree, lean up against it, and then look up, and you're going to see how it starts off from that trunk and it follows up and a branch to the left and then one to the right. It's always looking for balance. One behind you, another branch in front of you, and then all these different branches begin to span out like a network, and it's all part of that one tree. So when you look at the manuscripts in the Old Testament, the Quran, or the Jewish Old Testament, or you look at the Bible that the Christian churches teach out of, you'll notice that in Genesis it talks about a tree of life. And that's what that tree of life is. Your tree of life is your life, and you notice how your life spans out: school, work, fitness, nutrition, family, friends, causes, purposes, mistakes, failures, successes, and you can see your life like a tree of life. It's no different. So the tree is similar to us. Now, in the Old Testament, that's what we had, that tree of life. So you put your life together and you balance it out and you try to build a good life. Well, in the New Testament, I didn't realize till many years later that the tree of life is rooted and grounded in that river of light, or the river of life. And see, that is significant because that was the vision given to me, and unknowingly for Anastasia. But, at that time I'm looking at it, and so I didn't understand it, again, till January 9th, 2010. But the connection is this: life is all-inclusive, okay? The universe is all-inclusive. The planet is all-inclusive. Mark, you are all-inclusive. Cairo, you're in England, I believe right now. You are all-inclusive. And you out there that's listening, you are all-inclusive. Everything that happened in your life, your successes, your failures, all of it, that's your life. It's all-inclusive, present, past, and future. And of course, the key to the past, or the key to the future, and the key to the present, the key to all of that is the present, okay? Because it's all-inclusive. It's not to say that we should live in the past or live in the future. We got to live in the present. But we need to visit sometimes the future to prepare. That's why people go to school, and that's why people work, so they can make money, and they get paid in the future, but they're working today. So we're always doing, the key to life is in the present, but it goes into the past sometimes, or into the future. It's all-inclusive. In the past, why do I say in the past? Because I say that because many of you think that you shouldn't live in the past. Well, you should not live in the past. You're absolutely right. Do not live in the past. Do not live in the future. Live in the present. But your present is the key in case you need to fix something in the past that's still freaking you out and bothering you and getting in the way. Go back in there. Be a redeemer. Be your own counselor, in your own way as you understand God, and go in the past, redeem it, get it right, fix it, use it to empower you instead of to destroy you. So go to the past or go to the future in the present. And now, so the empowerment that I say in this connection is when you connect your life, your tree of life, to the rivers of living water, okay, the rivers of light. That's connecting to the higher power, to God, and some of you are from, I don't know. I think we have a lot of people listening. Can you tell how many people are even listening today?
Yes,
Mark?
And just to let you know, one of my friends who's in the chat room, let me see, what does she say? Mutual love and support. We're a spiritual family. Wait, I want to hear both of the Jesus visits, more details. This is going to be one of my favorite show stories ever. I love his integrity and passion. To hear the words all inclusive and everything used is one thing, believing them is one thing, but truly experiencing it must be amazing.
Oh gosh, well I don't know who said that, but wow, my gosh, that really touches my heart. And who, I don't know, whoever you are,
That's Cindy.
right here and right now, rooted and grounded on the earth and connected to the Creator of all creation, because that's what we all are.
Right.
And so therefore I send to you the love and the light and the direction and the courage and the guidance and the focus and the organization skills to move forward in what you're doing. So now, guys,
Right.
back to connecting the tree of life, which is your life, to the river of life, which is like the blood flow of the Creator. You know, it's like tuning onto a radio station or the correct frequency so that you can listen to this particular broadcast, for instance. You're in that flow. You're in that frequency. You're in that channel. So what God was showing me back then is saying, teach people to take their tree of life and help them reconnect it to the rivers of living water. And this was a non-religious visitation, and I had no idea what this stuff was all about until I died and came back to life. January 9th, 2010, and that's when I transformed everything. I no longer was an international land developer working to make money. I transformed everything, my entire team, so that we can serve humanity and planet. So, guys, if you remember, do you remember that movie with John Travolta, Phenomena?
Oh, yeah, I love that movie.
Yeah.
That was definitely an interesting movie.
Well, what was he doing? I know he was in a bar, and he went outside. I don't know if it was to smoke a cigarette, because I know he could have smoked inside, but he went outside regardless. Was it to take a piss like a guy does by a tree, or just to get fresh air? I don't know, but he went outside, and the John Travolta character, he goes outside, and he gets hit by a light from the sky, and you know, nobody knows what that light was, and it's just a movie, but a point well made. When he gets hit by the light, his life expands. He's all connected. He's all inclusive to things. He can feel. He can see. He's alive. He's experiencing it. And people freaked out because the ignorant people, ignorance causes fears. Misconceptions, they cause fears. But now he was learning everything. He was understanding everything. Whatever he put his hands to, he would understand it. So the powers that be, I don't want to use the word 1%, but whatever, the government, the military, everybody, and his friends, the locals, they all turned their back on him because they were so scared. But my point is, he connected to that river of light. And that's
right.
what we're talking about here, guys. You know that the experts, there's different arguments here, but some people say that we use 7% of our brain. Some experts say that we use 3% of our brain. And then some experts say that the geniuses use maybe 3 or 6% of their brain. So then the rest of our brain is not being tapped into. The rest of our potential it awaits an awakening. So, guys, you asked me a question and about how did Anastasia come about. This is it. We figured out a way, and it took us a long time. I mean, we have a team, a good-sized team. As we have the development side, the architectural side, the engineering, the legal, we have the permitting department. We have the promotional. Prior to Anastasia, we had about 200 people that we were employing. Some of them were independent contractors, and about 42, as I recall, were actual employees, full time. And man, if you can, it's a lot of work. So so we had all that experience, and then when we were able to bring this across and say, let's serve humanity, let's figure out a way to make an impact, it was interesting that this all started coming together, the vision and there's so many things that I could talk about, but I want to keep it focused on the original question, which was how did Anastasia Estates, all-inclusive, pay-it-forward communities come about? And this that I shared you was really the foundation. So I guess what happened throughout life is me, Joseph, I had to become the message. The messenger had to become the message. And that's why it took so long for me to finally understand what the vision was in 1978. And when I did, I finally realized why I had been taken into playing a little bit with politics and always being involved in community and technology. I was the building communications manager for the downtown scribers of Los Angeles, and then when I got into banking, I was, going to open up a bank called National Home Loans, and it just everything. I went into the banking part, the financing part, the technical part, the community part, the ministry part, because I didn't even mention I became a minister because of that visitation that led me into the ministry, and I studied for the ministry, became a minister. So I passed through all the different things that I needed to do. And for those of you, I'll just go ahead and say, for those of you that are wondering what ministry, some people think that ministry, that's the highest thing to do. But they equate ministry with being a pastor or an evangelist, prophet or teacher, or an apostle, whatever. And the truth is, ministry is everything that you do. If I'm called to be a dishwasher, then I should do that to the best of my abilities. Or if I'm called to be a father or a son or a husband, then that is my ministry. If I'm called to be a pastor, then I should do that being my ministry. So don't equate ministry with just a specific title that somebody else has.
Right.
Understand that ministry is what you do. Ministry is your life. Everything you do in your life is your ministry.
Right.
So Anastasia then, eventually I understood that it needed to be all-inclusive. So now here I am now. Here we are in 2012, and I think to myself, all the stuff that's going on in the news, and the Occupy movement, and all the corruption, and now it's in the open. Everybody knows that all governments are freaking corrupt, but that doesn't mean that everybody in the government is bad. Okay, it's no different than saying, okay, well, everybody in Occupy is good. No, man, the groups, guys, grouping people together and generalizing, we don't know necessarily who's good on one side or who's bad on the same side. You got good people in government, you got bad people in government. You got good people at Occupy, you've got bad people at Occupy. You've got good people. I hate to say this, you might have some good people in your family, and sometimes bad people come out of families. It's just life. And the bottom line is we as individuals are called to do amazing things, and that's a choice. So Anastasia looked at everything was going on, and I began to ask questions, Mark and Cairo and all you listeners out there. I began to ask the question, well, why give a house and put everybody in debt? And that house doesn't give you nothing other than a bill every month, and then the taxes get involved, you got to pay taxes. The insurance company gets involved, you got to get insurance. So by the time you're done, you're paying for the home part of it, the original home part. You're paying the interest for the bank part. You're paying the taxes for the government part, and you're paying insurance for the insurance part. Okay, then you got to pay the utilities, and you got to fix it, and so that house that was supposed to be a blessing ends up just being a taskmaster, and no different with cars and everything else that we have to get. It's all separated, if you notice. This system is not working together because the system gave us a centralized government that's supposed to take care of the needs of everybody. It's too hard. A centralized government can't do it for an entire country. So what Anastasia did is we put together communities, small insignificant, tiny, baby step communities of 100 homes, because then it's manageable. Then you can have organization in there. But man, could you imagine if you're trying to organize an entire town or an entire county or a city like L.A., Chicago? That's huge. It's too much.
Right.
See,
Now,
so Anastasia can do it, all-inclusive. And you were going to say something, so I think it's a good point for me to break. When we come back, after you finish commenting or questioning or whatever, guys, I'll come back and I'll show you how Anastasia now works from a practical standpoint.
Okay, well, what I was going to ask is, how are you organizing it so that the communities are mutually supporting, so that you have the businesses in the communities and the families in the communities helping, guiding, and supporting each other? You know the way it used to be, the way it should be.
Okay,
so everyone is there to support one another, not just monetarily, but in the way the community infrastructure is created. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yes, of course. So you're kind of you're asking the same question that I was going to answer, and the question being, how am I putting it all together physically, practically? Is that your question?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's on all levels. It's not just on one level. It's on all levels of what makes a truly advanced community of the future, and creating that new paradigm, that new mindset, that new way of being now.
Well, I love the
paradigm.
question. Very good. Good question. Cairo, do you have any questions or comments?
Yeah, I think the basis is getting back in tune with nature, the way that the natural intelligence works, and getting back into that appreciation of nature.
Your accent went over my head, brother. Cairo, what was the question? I didn't get it.
Getting back into nature.
Okay.
It's time to get back into nature too. Well, I think a piece of that is to be respectful and work with nature instead of taking it over.
Because we've been working against nature instead of working with it.
Yeah, working with it.
And cutting ourselves off.
Beautiful. Well, good questions. And so actually, those questions are just part of what I was going to get into. Okay, so let me first of all, let me just say that Cairo's question about how are we synchronizing with nature is the easiest part to go into, and all our wonderful listeners out there. All of us know that knowledge is available now at a fingertip. Anybody can go into the internet and ask a question and get an answer, and get hundreds or maybe thousands of answers on one solitary question.
Right.
So, that part is the easiest. So I could talk about things like aquaponics or vertical farming, or I could go into or I could talk about hydroelectricity or solar electricity, or we could go into any kind of farming. Okay. We could talk about organic fertilizers, creating our own organic fertilizers. As a matter of fact, on our payitforwardradio.org, we have a training archives library, and people go in there, and we're beginning to fill it up. I think right now, so far, we have construction, off-grid construction training, and then I put in some stuff, and then we have other groups putting in. And they're already in the process. One of them is putting in training for aquaponics. Those of you that want to learn about aquaponics, we have another group another team that's putting in information to help people protect themselves from foreclosures, so they can know the laws and how to protect themselves in foreclosures. So you're going to begin to see a lot of relevant content inside the training archives of Anastasia's payitforwardradio.org.
Now, Joseph, I do have
think
a question for you specifically. A friend of mine who I've had on the show as a guest lives in Florida, and he he bought the house that he lives in through money that he got through people in his family that had died. So it's money that was inherited. He never had a mortgage on his home or anything. And the courts, because he is outspoken, getting the truth out, and everything, the courts and everything have illegally seized his home, put it up for auction, and bought it for like $100. So he cannot even leave. He's like a prisoner in his own home, because if they catch him outside of his home, they can knock it up, and then he won't be able to get back in. And he is fighting it in the highest courts that he can, because it wasn't illegally done. It was illegally done.
Wow. Oh, that's horrific. That's horrific. Ouch. And but it's terrible. Well, all I can say on that is because the person, I got his name just even when he's in front of me, I can't hardly say it. Ali Mot, I believe is his name, Ali Mot, if I'm saying it correct. I'll ask him about that, and maybe he'll speak to it into the training area. But yeah, a lot of stuff like that's been going on. The corruption worldwide is so apparent, it's so obvious now, and nobody can hide it anymore. And that's where there's changes going on. So now let me go back to the question, because, and then all I can do is just say I feel sorry about what you just said right now, Mark. Whoever that's happening to and whoever's doing it to them. Well, that's why Anastasia has a different philosophy, so we're not going to get into those situations ever again. But I think I touched on Cairo's question by saying that nature is what we are. Natural is what we are. So the only way that we can become unnatural is to go out of our way. Nature was happening every day. I mean, all we got to do is these large corporations, for the sake of money, get us to live an unnatural life and to put toxins in our foods. But you and I would never put toxins in our food or in the ground.
I mean, look at what Monsanto has done forcibly, even forcing good companies, like Sony Food Yogurt, an all-natural organic yogurt, and others to fold to become part of the larger conglomerate.
Yeah.
Which they don't want to, but they're forced to. Ben and Jerry's ice cream, for example, is another one that was all-natural, high-quality product that was forced to join in, and they didn't want to, but they were forced to.
Yeah, because of the mighty dollar. But we give into it. We didn't have to. Nobody had to do anything. If you think about it, I mean, even the people that lost houses. Okay, I'm not talking about your scenario that you shared, Mark. But a lot. Everybody, for the most part, I hear most people complaining about what the banks did wrong. But I was in the banking industry before all the evil happened. That I got out before the horrible stuff started taking place, but I saw it coming. Now, I remember people would come to get a loan that couldn't afford that loan, so they didn't have to put themselves in a position, but they got greedy. People do stupid things sometimes. And so in the case of Ben and Jerry, and I'm not saying yay or nay because I don't know the details of the situation, if they had to join, then really you go back and say, did they really have to join? No. Well, why not just cut down on their profits? What's wrong with that? Sure, they might have to even lay people off, which is bad to think about. But we have choices. Nobody's a freaking victim here, and which I tell my brothers that are protesting these days, because I protest as well, but I do it out of love and out of light. I don't do it out of hate and anger and victimization. I'm not asking the government to help me. Yeah, I'm saying, hey, man, you guys missed it. The corruption is obvious. Okay, I say that stuff, but I'm not saying, hey, come and give me, or because I'm too busy creating already. I'm too busy creating jobs already, creating opportunities, and we're all in the same world. We know how devastated we were by the recession. So what I would think is that Ben and Jerry, if they chose to start to not become natural anymore, then they made that choice. But they didn't have to.
But they're not admitting the truth of how their products is changing. They're not saying that.
There you go. See, they became. I'm not saying yay or nay. But if that's the case, then if that were the case, and I don't know if it is or it isn't, then they became part of the problem, and that's what happens. And that's why I'm saying we can easily become part of the problem, and if we're not careful. So we have to make choices, and we have to be courageous, and we have to be loving. We have to have our life rooted and grounded in the rivers of living water, guys. We need to have integrity. We need to be connected to the light. Otherwise, we're going to make decisions with the darkness. If you're not positive on purpose, you're going to become negative by accident.
Right, exactly. Now, one thing that we probably should touch on, too, is how you have several different websites that each have a specific purpose that is all interrelated with each other. Would you like to speak on each one?
I do. I would like it, but hold that question on a napkin somewhere or on a piece of paper, because I'm an organized human being.
Okay. And
I remember the question that you had asked earlier. We haven't touched on it. We just kind of went over some of the stuff that Cairo was talking. So,
okay.
And then Cairo. Then we go into the other part where we do have amazing homes, okay, that have already built into it. Oh my God! I always get my hydro and my wind turbines, mixed up there when I'm talking. So we have wind turbine energy. We have electrical energy also from solar. And then for the rain, we honor the rain that God has given us. We catch the rain, and then we filter it coming down through the plumbing that we set up, goes down into the underground containers, the tanks, and then it filters as it's coming up. So the water.
I looked at the filtration system, and it's quite amazing clever how that's been put together.
And to give you an idea, guys, watch this. If you're in the States, I don't know what it's like in England or in other countries, but in the States, if you want solar, the price is about $60,000. So to add solar to your house, it's expensive. That's why a lot of people don't do it. Well, sheesh, you have to first pay for a house that's expensive, then you got to put $60,000 additional just for solar. So then if you got to do the rainwater catchment, you got to pay for that extra, and you got to pay for the other stuff extra. Well, Anastasia gives your homes at $50 a square foot. It's a giveaway. We're not making any money off of it, and it includes a brand new house, the solar energy, okay, all of that apparatus already installed. Okay, we just give you the key and you move in, or the wind turbine, the rain catchment, entire system, and then we give you an air to water system, so that you've got it all. You're completely sustainable. You're living. We don't have to connect plumbing to the grid, for water, or electricity to the grid for electricity. We're completely sustainable.
Now, the question I'd like you share is, where do you presently have these communities or agreements to make these communities like the one in New Mexico?
I will, but let me finish. Let me finish with that part, Mark. Boy, I love you, man. You just jump in there with one question and then the other. We're going to get there. I think we have enough time, I hope, on this show. It's a 2-hour show,
we have another hour.
So to finish off on Cairo's question, $50 a square foot. To give you an idea, a 1,000 square foot house total with solar and everything else mentioned, it's $50,000 total. Instead of the house and then $60,000 for the solar and $60,000 and all that. No, it's total $50 per square foot comes out to about $50,000 for a 1,000 square foot house. Now, what I always tell people is to grow up and to wake up. Maybe they don't need a 1,000 square foot house. Money doesn't grow on trees anymore, right? So I tell people, man, if you only need a 500 or a 400 square foot house, why don't you just get a 500 or a 400 square foot house? I mean, people in some countries live in small houses, and they do it every day. In America,
and you can always add on later, right?
Well, you can add on later. You can sell that one, move into another one. But my point is, I'm talking one if that's what the one person needs. Now, if you're a family, obviously you're going to need a bigger house. But some people, especially in the American way of thinking, they think they got to have the fastest car and the biggest, beautiful house. And it doesn't do it. That's not the answer. It's like the vision that I had, when I was a kid. None of these things make you. They don't define you. And I've lived in big houses, man. I remember one house I lived in had 8 bathrooms. Okay? And it was just huge. I mean, I've got pictures I could show you the house. Beautiful house. It didn't make me any more of who I am or didn't take away anything. If anything, it stressed me out and I could hear a bunch of noises. And it costs a ton of money to upkeep. So when we're talking about sustainability, and at this point I'll leave the Cairo question alone, and hopefully I answered it enough, but we could go on and on and on. We could really get into details and make that a whole seminar. But to end that question, sustainability starts with you. If you are sustainable, if everybody was sustainable, then everything would be sustainable because it's about choices. We are natural. The earth is natural. And so if we all make natural choices, then guess what? No corporation would have a control because we'd all tell them corporations to get screwed, and we just wouldn't buy their products. We have choices. We're not victims. So those of us that are out, protesting against the evil, hey, look in our own back door. What are we doing that's evil? What are we doing? What are we not doing that could be in the light, or what are we doing that's in the light that we can just expound upon? So that's. I hope I answered Cairo's question. Now, for you, Mark, your question was how do we put it all together? So I think you had another question. So maybe you wanna. Do you want to give me that put your questions together? And not the website part. The website part is real simple. You had a question about the websites. Well, we have about 80 websites that are specific for specific needs, because remember, Anastasia Estates, all-inclusive, pay-it-forward communities, they address many issues because we look at life as all-inclusive. Instead of give you a house and put you in bondage to it, we put it all together so that everything is making sense. It's eco-friendly. It's got synergy behind it. For instance, let me explain one thing. I get calls from some communities in different parts of the world, and some of them are maybe having some problems. And they go, well, how are you handling this, or how are you handling that? And I give them the same reason, the same answer. And I tell them it's because a community has to be all-inclusive, I tell them. You can't just put together a farm and make it organic and then put homes around it and say that's enough. Well, it's not enough. I mean, people are a spirit, a soul, and a body. We have a lot of different needs. And that's why I always say life is all-inclusive. So when you look at our websites, you'll notice that we have the all-inclusive section. If you would go into payitforwardcommunities.org or, whatever, however you get to our main website, because many of the other websites point to our site. So anyway, the main website is AnastasiaKingsDomains.com. But to make it easy for people, we have payitforwardcommunities.org. So anyway, however way you point, you get to our main website, you're going to notice that there's a section up above that says Move Into Anastasia Estates All-Inclusive. So that's the part that deals with community. If you scroll down, the first 4 pages will make you an expert on Anastasia. In other words, the first 4 sections of that scroll-down menu Move Into Anastasia Estates All-Inclusive, that will explain to you the 4 components, which is one of them, the all-inclusive piece, and the other one is the profit-sharing piece, and then the other one is the interest aspect, and then the other one is the homes. And the homes breaks into 3 categories, whether the campground area, the off-grid house, or the traditional house. All of it is different pricing, and to us, to Anastasia, it doesn't matter which one you get. It's just what fits for you. Sometimes economics come into play, and you got to make decisions, and those 4 types of housings are in there. So now we have a frequently asked questions page in there as well. So how we put it all together, I think, would that be a good explanation now for me to get into, Mark?
Yes, I mean, there's, as you said, there are several different components to it. They're all part of the greater whole.
Okay, so here's how we were able to solve the all-inclusive crisis. What we said is, okay, the house is one thing, that's a cost. The land is another cost, so that's another cost. And then all these other things like medical, dental, food, utilities, et cetera, et cetera.
Education for the kids, for the family.
A whole bunch of things. These are expensive. So what Anastasia did is we put them all under one roof. Now let me explain first that part, the all-inclusive part, because we're in it. Right now, Mark, Cairo, and those of you listening, most of what you're buying right now is retail. Most of it. Your cell phone, you're paying retail. Everything, your television, you're paying retail. Everything that you have right now is retail because we've become a debt society. We're consumers, and consumerism is eating us alive. It's just not working. It's only working for the people way up above that have all the money. And trust me, a lot of businesses that those of you that are not business owners, you might think it's all businesses that are evil. Trust me, it's not. There's a lot of mom and pop organizations that have their own businesses, and they're hurting more than you are. Right now, just to give you an idea, the people that are doing well with money are the real poor and the real rich. Everybody in between is going through hell right now. There's an adjustment period. There's a shaking going on. And people are going to, every day, people that are teetering and tottering either towards becoming wealthy, which less people are doing that, or they're teetering and becoming poor. All right. So what Anastasia did, imagine if you had one building that housed radio, television, accounting, legal, massage, a whole bunch of businesses that would normally charge you retail. If you could put all those businesses that are servicing you under one roof so that they were all sharing that same roof instead of each one of them paying for their own office, wouldn't that save them money?
True.
Okay, so that's one thing that Anastasia does, and and that's called leveraging. Okay, so we leverage, we put all the businesses under one roof. Okay, that's savings number one. Now, savings number two. Imagine if you are the one that owned those businesses, so that you were giving these services to yourself at cost. Wouldn't that save you money again?
True. Very
Instead of charging yourself retail, because remember, every business and every product or service that you're paying for every month, here's what you're paying for. You're paying for transportation. You're paying for their marketing. You're paying for their advertising. You're paying for their sales costs. You're paying for their utilities, for the rent or the lease on their building. Okay, you're paying for their cars. You're paying for their insurances. You're paying for their overhead. You're paying a lot of different things, right?
Right. Okay. And one thing which I found too, which is, as you were saying earlier, is a major cost is just communication in today's society. Like for example, the local cable company, Comcast, they charge a fortune, and they sort of make it in a way. Oh, the only way that you can save money is by having all 3 services: cable, TV. Cable, internet,
they're doing the same principle. They're able to offer
and the
more
phone, and then we'll give you a better price, which is still high.
which is what we're saying here. So if Comcast or Time Warner or whoever, or Adelphia or whatever company you're with, they'll offer you telephone, cable, and internet. Why? They can give it to you at a savings because it's the same. They got the same operating cost for all this stuff. It's the same transmitters that they're sending you. It's the same staff. All they do is they just add in a few more employees, and so it's just a labor cost for them. But look at all the profit that they're making.
Exactly.
So what Anastasia does is it puts all of the services and products together so that you are able to live without having to pay all these retail prices everywhere. Bottom line is we lump it all up under $995, and that per month. That's everything. Pays for everything. Your food, it doesn't matter to Anastasia if you eat at your house, cook your own organic food. And remember, this is organic because it's your own farm. So the food comes in and you eat, and whatever is not eaten there, we sell it at our own store. So you own the farm, you own the store.
Right.
So now you're making profit when it gets sold at the store. Now let me just stay on the food part for a minute. You're going to be healthier. You're going to feel more alive. You're going to begin to use more of your brain. You're going to be cleaner, purer, crystalline. You're more alive. You think about that movie with Phenomena. You begin to do more of that. You tap into a greater part of yourself. Okay, so let's say that you don't want to cook at home one day. You want to eat at the restaurant. Well, you eat at the restaurant. That's all inclusive too. Or let's say you talk about quality of life. You want a massage today or tomorrow or every day of the week. You just sign your name on the schedule, and you go in and you get your massage at the time that you signed in for. All inclusive. You don't pay for that. Everything at Anastasia, utilities, food, security, maintenance, entertainment, transportation, all of it is included in your $995 because you work together intelligently, united as one for a greater cause. That's teamwork. So that's the all-inclusive piece. Now watch this. Let's say that you have a family. It's a family of four. So how that works is really cool. And this we call, we have a friends and family program that's similar, but first I'll just deal with one family. So the first person with the house activates, a dwelling, a housing situation. So it's $995. Not. I won't even confuse you yet. It's just $995. Period. Okay. I'll explain later how other things come into play. Not other costs, just other benefits. So the $995 is for the all-inclusive living, and that includes the house. Okay? But you have a kid and two other kids, or you have two kids and you have a spouse. So that's three extra people. Well, those three extra people don't incur all those other things right away. So it's just like $100 per month for the other three. And part of it is because of the medical and the dental. That's like $50, and then the other is for the food and the utilities that they're going to consume. So $50 for an entire human being for food and utilities per month. You can see that Anastasia's not, making any money off of that.
Right.
So now you've got four people, a family of four, and that's just under $1,400, or I'm sorry, $1,300.
Now, have you heard of, I'm not sure if I mentioned this to you, a friend of mine sent me this, and I'm definitely seriously thinking about getting it when I can, is a cell phone that is, after you buy the phone for $200, which is common, and you pay $20 a month, $19 a month, and it works off of the internet, the web, like Wi-Fi. And instead of using the very expensive cell phone towers, which, as you know, microwave energy and everything, which is not safe or right, and and it's decent cell phone service. It just works off the web.
Yeah, I've heard about that. I wouldn't know nothing about it, brother. I'm so busy with Anastasia, I haven't even had time to watch television lately. But yeah, I heard it was. I just heard about it. I haven't heard good or bad. I don't know anything. You know more than I.
Yeah. So I mean, basically, they're featured on a lot of PC World, Forbes, New York Times, CNN, so forth. So it's getting out there, and it seems like the way of the future. Because the cell phone companies just charge you, like $150, $200 a month. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. So there's ways that we on the communication side bring the cost down, but that's I think a conversation for later. For now, thank God, everybody has VoIP. If we give you a good internet connection, just hook up voice over IP. Skype is as good as any, and you're able to talk to people all over the world. That's the best solution.
Right. I agree.
I've just got a question. Is Anastasia going to be expanding worldwide in all countries, or is it just going to be limited to certain continents?
Yes, and I wish we could do it faster. We've already got people. We've got somebody in Australia that we're training right now to to go through the process, because there's a lot of learning that each person has to go through. We've already got somebody in South Asia that's been in training for just under a year. We've got somebody from Malaysia wanted to do something in Malaysia. We got somebody in the Philippines, Cebu, Philippines. Also, conversing with somebody in New Zealand. In Ireland, we're talking to someone. In the United Kingdom, we're talking to someone else. In South America, we already got a person in training. In the country of Ecuador. Mm-hmm. Costa Rica, we have 3 projects already, and those are the closest to being completed. We've already got some homes in there, and roads, and the water, electricity, and we're getting ready to do a groundbreaking on July 28th for our Costa Rica project.
Right.
In Mexico, we have 2, one on the Pacific side and one on the Caribbean side. In the United States, we've got Portland, Oregon, and in Canada, we've got Newfoundland, Canada. And then we have another over just a little bit close to Vancouver, British Columbia.
Yeah.
So you're training.
How about the one in New Mexico that you and I know the person that's working on that one? They've already bought the land.
I would like to say that is going on. I just don't know what's going on there, but I will say that they're a great group of people, and any way that we can help them, definitely want to.
Yeah, because I know my friend that started that, he's moving this week.
So yeah, what is the name? Because I talked to different groups that work together. So what is the actual name of the community? Is there a name yet?
I'm not sure if they have a name. I'll look for the info, because I'm sure I have it somewhere, and I'll send it to you.
Yeah, well, Eric told me about it. Ian told me about it, and there's other beautiful people. I remember Laura and Joyous, and an amazing group of people, and I really am sending them lots of love and light and prayers that everything goes good, and I know it will, because they're an amazing group of people, and I know that will go well. So what happens then at Anastasia? All of those services are brought under one roof, and that's how we get your costs down to $9.95. And if we have a friends and family program that you got to check out on our website. That's really cool, because what we did is we said, okay, let's say people right now are just trying to recover, and say it's a family of 4, and then they know a family of 4, but one of them doesn't have the money for a house. So what they could do is team up, bring in their friends or their family, that other family of 4. Just as an example, I'm trying to help you be creative how you could end up in a house. Say that family number 2 does have the money to move in. Family number 1 does not have the money, but family number 1 is the one that knows about Anastasia. Well, family number 1 can go and talk to their friends or family and says, hey, why don't we team up, man? You put in the cost for the house, and that's going to bring down our overhead. See, because Anastasia will treat it like this. It'll say person number 1 in that house, because it'll become a household. 2 families in one household. So Anastasia will say, okay, person number 1 is $9.95, and then those remaining 7 people, okay, because it's 2 families of 4, that's 8 people. So person number 1 is $9.95. Those other 7 people are basically $700. So now you got what, $1,700, per month for family of 4, and you can get a massage, you can eat organic food and all that. Man, if you were eating organic food, it would be almost $1,700 just alone for the organic food, right? In America,
Right.
So now we're saying $1,700, and that's medical, dental, transportation, all the other stuff. That's not bad. So you cut it down the middle, that's $1,850 per family of 4. $850 for a family of 4. I think that's intelligent.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's how the all-inclusive piece works. Then the house, people pay cash, so we give it to them at cost. It's cash. You got to pay it cash to get in. So you got to figure out that piece on your own. Wish we could help more, but nobody's giving financing these days, and we're not. Anastasia doesn't have the answer for that either. People call us and ask us if they can do financing for people, and I just rather that each person does that on their own, because Anastasia doesn't want to get in a situation where you borrowed money to buy that house, and then the company takes the house away from you one day, and then Anastasia's in the middle, as if we'd be caught in the middle, and we don't want to make those kinds of choices, because it wouldn't be us anyway. So
I was just going to say, has there been any grievances with the law? Because over in the UK, we've got travellers that live in caravans, and they can't stay in one place too long because the councils and the police move them on, and they can't buy their own land and stay in there because the councils won't let them do that.
Well, let me keep going down the conversation, because I'm going there as well.
Yeah.
So bottom line is, we talked about the all-inclusive piece, okay? Now the house piece, you buy whichever one you want. It's inexpensive, guys. If you're doing 1,000 square feet, that's $50,000. If you're doing 500 square feet, that's $25,000. If you're getting the non-off-grid house, the traditional house, if I'm not mistaken, the 500 is maybe $15,000, something like that. You have to check on the website for a house, and you're free and clear on the house. You're paid. Okay, I'll touch on your question in a minute there, Cairo. So what's left now? Now you have the land, and the land. What Anastasia does is, we don't charge you, we don't obligate you to make any payments, and the interest rate is 0%. So you're never accumulating any interest. So it just facilitates you putting your house on it. So you pick your home site, and everything is legal, everything's on paper. We're very professional, and you put your house on the land that Anastasia is letting you use. We just do it that way to help you have a home and have land. So now you're living affordable, $9.95 a month if it's just you, and you have a house. You have massage, you have utilities, you have food, organic food, restaurant, a resort environment. Everything is wonderful. $9.95, and you're cool, and you own the house. That's what Anastasia does. But we have a third component which revolutionizes everything. We decided to do take the 1% and the 99%. You know how that's a big talk today. 99%, 1% of humanity. And the 1% is rich, and they own 99% of the money, and the 99% is poor, and they own 1% of the money, just spread out amongst each other, which of course doesn't work. So what Anastasia does is it puts it all together. It makes all of us in the community owners of the profit centers. So the profits come in, and that's how the land gets paid off. The profits come in from the businesses that the community owners own, and it pays off the land first. Once the land is paid off, it goes to pay off the $9.95, or your monthly cost. So the goal is to help people to move in first, to live quality of life, and then help people to generate the profits in the businesses, so so that those businesses will pay off their pay off their land, and then when the land is paid off, to pay off their living expenses. That's the whole component. So it's 4 pieces: the house, the land, the profit sharing, and your expenses. So the profit sharing then becomes supplemental income, or if you're going to retire, it becomes your retirement income.
Now, the other piece which I want to talk about too, which you and I have talked about, and now that we have Cairo on with us as well, is how you support those of us that are doing the work to be successful through your viral packages and how that all works. This way maybe some of the listeners or the archive listeners might be interested in that as well.
Okay, I think what you're asking me is about employment. You're asking about a job, right?
Well, the employment also, where you help with websites and helping them to be successful.
Okay, you're grouping a bunch of stuff together, and
all right, well, I'll let you share it as you would like.
Okay. One thing that you talked about is our partnership program,
right?
Which is under. If you go to our website on the top right, it'll say causes and resources. Scroll down from there, and the very first link will say partnership programs. And what we do there is we have like $25,000 packages already set up, well, mostly set up, and we just have to configure it to be specific to whatever solution you're contributed to humanity or planet. So we have these viral business packages, very potent, very powerful, and we don't charge for them, but we only give them to people that are doing something for humanity or planet. And so you can go there, and Anastasia is happy to give them to anybody that needs it to help you get your business off the ground, as long as your business is good to humanity or planet. So if that helps you to get yourself back on your feet, generate income, then it's already there, and it's all inclusive also. When you go through all this stuff, you see what's there, your mind is just going to say, wow. It takes you like a good 45 minutes, a good, slow, strong 45 minutes to even imagine all the different components that make up that business package. It's got every automated email campaign, interlinks, external links, search engine optimization, your website, social media. It's got everything that you need to take your business viral. And then, anyway, so that's one piece. But the other thing that you had, mentioned in your question mark was, and Cairo, I still have your question on hold over here about the legalities of owning land and owning homes. So bear with me. So Mark, there's remember, Anastasia is very organized. What we do is we separate. Profit sharing is profit sharing, okay? And now that might sound like a job, but it's not. A job is a job. Profit sharing is profit sharing. 2 separate things. So we encourage people to make sure that they're, how are they going to, be able to sustain themselves, $9.95 a month. Anastasia did this part to bring the cost down. Okay, but now how is each family going to make sure that they have $9.95 plus $100 for the other members of the household? So that's a separate issue. So what we did is we came up with an employment agency, online employment agency. We have it there, so people can look there and see if that'll help them. And there will be jobs that Anastasia gives. Okay, but these are all separate issues. I don't know that Anastasia is going to have a job for every single person that's in the community, because the needs of Anastasia would be somebody in marketing. Where I know we're going to need salespeople, a ton of salespeople. There'll be maintenance workers. There'll be receptionists, concierge, the people taking care of the farm. There'll be cooks, people at the restaurant, somebody handling the store. maybe some of the businesses require employees. So there'll be jobs at Anastasia for sure, especially as any of the profit centers begin to get more powerful. For instance, say that the farm becomes intelligent because it's owned by all of us, right? Everybody in each community. So let's say that the farm has to think about marketing. And let's say that the farm, Anastasia, ends up distributing, to whatever part of the world that Anastasia happens to be in, whether it's Portland or Costa Rica or whatever. So we're doing good technology on the farm to be productive, and we figure out a way that we can distribute. Okay, remember also that Anastasia owns its own software company. So AnastasiaSoftware.com is our software company. So it's easy for Anastasia to create any online marketing mechanism. We created our own radio station. We created all of these viral business packages. Our marketing team just gets together, and the powers that be within Anastasia make decisions. They brainstorm. They think tank. And then the Anastasia software will then come in and do what needs to be done. For instance, Anastasia software built our own email servers. And throughout the years, little by little, a whole bunch of emails have been put together. I won't mention how many because it's a lot, but very soon all those people are going to be contacted on behalf of Anastasia to tell them about our groundbreaking celebration on July 28th. So, let me put it another way. We haven't even started our sales and marketing campaign. The sales and marketing starts July 28th. When we go deep into that, we're already 23% sold out.
Right. Well, what I'm planning on doing too with you, as you know, is supporting you every way that I can. So I do plan on doing another show with you, perhaps in July, whenever you want to do it, and we can do more promotions with that and get the word out.
Sure, absolutely, and likewise. And thank you very much, Mark. Now, Cairo, your question about the legality in Anastasia, we have sections under moving to Anastasia states all inclusive, and you just go for whatever community you're looking for, and then each community will give its own information. So you'll notice that the Costa Rica one is the furthest along. So when you click on Anastasia Estates Costa Rica, which is on the scroll down, then you go to, you'll see there's a bunch of sub pages, legal, everything, just a whole bunch of stuff about Anastasia and the different communities of Anastasia in Costa Rica, because we have different lands over there, and that'll give you. So in other words, the question that you ask, it's a different answer for every country. In other words, I don't know what the specifics are in England,
But you said you already have someone in England you're working with.
Yeah, well, we're talking to somebody in England. He's a doctor.
Could you network Cairo with that person?
Yeah, I would be happy to. As a matter of fact, I'll talk to him and I'll have him contact Cairo.
Well, it seems
but also I want to lay a true perspective on everything. Costa Rica is furthest along because I've been working on it. The moment I decided Anastasia was going to be a reality. But some of these other companies, they're in different stages. The Portland is still in training. A good group of people, very, very, very good person in charge over there. The Newfoundland community, from what I understand, the land's already in place. They just have to, but they're in training. Okay, so everything. I mean, these are communities. They're like towns. It's not like going in and baking an apple pie that you get done in a half hour. So it's going to take time for all these different communities to filter up and become something that you can move into. So we're hoping the sooner the better. But we can't force time. At least they're in process. That's I'm happy about that. I wish we can get them done faster, but I know the process of building the community. There's much involved.
Right. Now, if you would like to put me in touch with the people in your Portland, Oregon and maybe I can help them to do some promotions for them as well. Well, whatever it is that I can do to be of service, just let me know.
Sure, absolutely. I'll give you both of you. I'll give you the phone numbers to share.
Yeah, you can just Skype it to us. That's fine.
Yeah, sure, exactly. So I think I touched on the questions that you guys had asked on. Do you have anything else that you'd like me to share?
Yeah, now that we are doing the communication piece, through the online radio shows, which we're doing on Blog Talk Radio now, you're going to be doing it with the Anastasia Radio, which, as you know, I'm going to be, helping you with that as well, and really getting the word out there. And what's good with the internet radio is it's international, and that it's archived so that anyone can just go to listen to the archives at any point in time later on, which is great. Now, how do you see that being utilized more effectively?
Well, I used to work in traditional radio. I used in different ways. I've had my own radio programs in actual radio before, and I've done a little bit of stuff with radio, online radio, and of course, Anastasia built our own radio station. So I don't know, Mark. I just look at radio as a media, just like a newspaper or television or internet. It's a media, and it's if done right, it can communicate to the masses. So obviously, needless to say, we definitely want to tap into every media possible, radio being one of them. So anything that we can do to share light and to help people experience love and help people clarify life, and then we're Anastasia's all in, and we're all in with you, Mark, and with you, Cairo, and anybody else that is wanting to spread real solutions. Mark, you know me by now. I don't get into politics, and I even though I've been in the ministry before, and I was an ordained minister, you never hear me talk about religion very much. I never dump my particular specific beliefs on anybody, because I figure God gave everybody a brain and everybody a life. And I don't know anybody's life the way they know their life. I know my life the way that I know it. But I'm even growing. Till the day that I die, I'll continue growing. Little by little, I walk closer and closer into that light, and I'm transformed into that light. So what I'm saying is that Anastasia's position is just practical solutions to people, and we are willing to work with anybody that wants to get it out there. And I'm happy, Mark. Thank you so much for making yourself available, your spirit and your time. And I know that there are expenses to all this stuff. So I'm hoping that whoever's out there listening, because I don't think that, Mark, do you ever get any donations? Or do you accept donations? How are you funded?
Yeah. All right. Cairo and I do have a place on his website, which we're looking for donations and money to help us to get it online, which we definitely want to. Cairo and I have talked about it, and definitely want to work with you with your partnership programs that you talked about.
Okay. Well, great.
Well,
whenever you guys are ready, I just need to make sure that both of you as a team have read over diligently the partnership program, because that's actually training number one. When you guys go through that, then we're ready. We'll help you out with all that immediately.
I think the internet marketing is a sensible way forward to have income and to be able to sustain. But as for donations, I've never received a donation, and I think that people are only part of money when they have to purchase.
Well, my experience with that is we've got a donation button on our radio station, and I think I only received one donation from somebody in England, and it was for $1, if I'm not mistaken. And I don't know, maybe I'm glad that he sent that $1 because it made me to think, you know what, maybe I ought to put some more attention on the donation piece. I think there are, I know that there are people in the world that want to help good causes. But everybody, even the good people that want to help good causes, everybody has hit a place of just fatigue with just a bunch of nonsense, a bunch of baloney.
So
I don't know.
Suspicion,
distrust because of all the ugliness that so many people have done for so long. You know, it's tainted, it's traumatized, it's jaded. So much of humanity, the humanity doesn't know what the heck to believe in anymore. You know, so they distrust and they're afraid to give, and I don't blame anybody for not wanting to give.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, so what I would think that, like for instance, Anastasia, we have the radio show, ours, but if you notice, I haven't even gone live on our radio station yet, and I don't intend on going live for maybe another 2 or 3 weeks because I have so many priorities. I simply cannot focus on going live right now, and I want to, because I got some really intense priorities, getting ready for the groundbreaking. But when I do, I would imagine that, you know, our audience is going to grow even that much more because I'll be able to just give more hope and give more practical hope and practical faith. Because in my opinion, like when you go to the synagogues or churches or stuff, they talk out there, but these are people that are employed by those religious organizations, so they're kind of out of touch. You know, they get their salary, and they talk, and they're just repeating stuff that's been repeated for years. Not to say that it's bad, okay? So please don't misunderstand me. But
well, I mean, the Vatican is the biggest landowner in the world, and they're not doing any projects like this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, crazy. Oh my God, I just cringe to see. You know, I mean, you know, the Rothschilds. Here we are. I hope we're not just getting into complaining, but the Rothschilds own like $500 trillion. And I don't know who's richer, the Rothschilds or the Vatican, honestly.
Yeah, but, I mean, it doesn't really matter. Basically, I don't want to get into it, but David Wilcox and Benjamin Fulford and others, I mean, that's their job, is to get that end of it, get the truth out, and help create change. But, yes, it is important for us to be aware of what they're doing, what's going on. But our role, our purpose, mine, as you know, is as a healer, as a conscious ascension coach with Cairo, which both him and I are going to be doing through our Visionary Insights Network that we're co-creating, and the work I'm going to be doing with you as well is going to be for the new communities, for the new earth, bring forth what we are creating here now through Anastasia communities and so forth to the new earth paradigm, the new earth. So everything that we are creating now, which is of the love, of the light, of the creation for the greater good of the whole, we'll be taking all of that with us into the new earth consciousness vibration.
Wow, I love that. I love it. I mean, that sounds wonderful. That's powerful.
Well, that you are a part of it, as you know, and that's why I'm on board with you. Because I both Cairo and I work with the source in a very highly focused way, and we are here to be part of your co-creation to make Anastasia, everything you're doing, successful. Even if we're not doing it officially, physically, we are doing it energetically from source consciousness, which is the consciousness of creation itself. So you have the backing of creation consciousness of this universe and omniverse of all universes of creation. You have that support in your co-creation with what you're doing with Anastasia communities. For it is part of the higher divine plan, made manifest through your love, through your intentions, to be of service and to do this business for the greater good of the whole.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well,
I just had another question, if I may, as well.
Go ahead, Cairo.
So
Go
I
ahead.
take it you're training representatives in every country or internationally to move this forward, branch out.
Yeah, Cairo, I love you, but just as your accent, you know, you put me to work trying to understand what you're saying.
Basically, what he's asking is how you are training people in other countries to continue the work that you're doing.
That's the thing, guys, and everybody that's out there. You know, I will spend maybe 2 or 3 minutes on this question, Cairo. Thank you for asking it, because this is so important. Oh boy, I got to keep it simple. But the bottom line is, Anastasia is actively training people worldwide. We have a system already in place so that it's almost effortless. It's actually a lot of fun. It's incredibly empowering, because for anybody that gets involved, okay, and it has to start off with the correct person, because a community is hard work, guys. It's not easy. Okay, so bottom line is, Anastasia already knows the A's to Z's, and we just take you by the hand, and we walk you through the whole process. The end result being an Anastasia States community, all-inclusive, pay it forward community in your area. And Anastasia helps with the promoting of your community, which is the first part, and then the recruiting of your team, which is the second part, and then the actual manifestation or development of your community, which is the last part. It's a process that you go through. And it all starts off, Cairo, just so you understand, with training number 1, which is the partnership program. The partnership program goes into 2 pieces. It could be anything that's off-grid or sustainable, good for humanity and planet, that has nothing to do with the communities per se. And those people, we just help them. We give them a package, and we help them in any way we can. But they're pretty much, it's their business, it's their company, and that's good enough for us. But for the communities, we're a lot tougher on you, and we make you go through the hoops and the hurdles, and because we don't want you to get involved in trying to put together a community if you're going to quit a year and a half from now. Why bother wasting all that time and energy? We want you to know how difficult it is, okay? But then it's not like it's not fun and it's not worth it. It's difficult, but the rewards of putting together an entire town of your own, you know, a community, whatever you want to call it, businesses and homes and land and farm, organic and income and friendships. Are you kidding? That is bringing heaven to earth.
Exactly. Like I said, what Cairo and I do is linear, which is in this time as we perceive it, as well as non-linear, which means outside of time and space, going back to the past and into the distant future, all in the eternal now moment, creating it now. So right now, 3 of us here, along with the listeners, are creating our new paradigm, our new future now. We are combining our high intentions, our love, our intentions to create that new earth, the new reality in this eternal now moment. We are doing that as we speak in this show today.
Beautiful. Now, guys, there's another piece here. Let's talk about what's happening in the world. Okay? Imagine if you're in the city, New York, LA, Chicago, or London, Paris, wherever, and the New World Order, you guys, and here we can kind of take this lightly, but just for a conversation, okay, imagine when the New World Order does do its final evil and usurp total control over everything and everybody. Now, according to the manuscripts, in any of the religious books, you will not be able to buy, sell, or trade. That means you won't even be able to barter. So a lot of people that are thinking alternative currency, I got news for you. when the system, the evil 1% system goes into effect, you will not even be able to barter, okay, at all, or buy or sell, nothing. You will have to be part of the new world order as they have it. So it doesn't matter what they call it, chip, the RFI chip or whatever, or the mark of the beast, or the 666, or the new world order. It doesn't matter what title we put on it. That's the direction that we're headed in. Okay, and we're going to have to go through a period of darkness before the light wins over, and we have that, whole a long time of living in the light. But before we go into living in the light in humanity, we're going to go through that period where evil kind of takes over for a little while. So
what
imagine
if we don't allow that
if
to
you're
happen?
living in the city and you don't have your own water, and you don't have your own vegetables, you don't have your own anything because you're so stupid that you wouldn't listen to all the teachings that are being given by anybody that knows anything at all. I'm not talking just religion. Everybody, the economists know what's happening. The economic system is broken. They can't fix it. They have to reboot it. Okay, so look at the environmentalists are saying the same stuff. Not just the Mayan calendar and the 2012, teachings that are going on. Everybody from every expertise of life is all pointing to the same thing. They're saying, hey, something's happening. We need to change. Okay, so a lot of people listening, maybe not a lot of people listening. I think if you're listening still, you're on board with our kind of thinking. Otherwise, you'd have tuned us out a long time ago. So I'm not freaking out saying, oh, let's put together Anastasia or off-grid communities or, sustainable communities. And, I'm not saying that. I'm saying, hey, let's build communities that make sense just for quality of life, for dignity and quality of life. However, on the other side, there is the wisdom in no longer depending on anybody to take care of you. You can no longer depend. I can't anyway. I'm doing it right now, but I can no longer continue to close my eyes and think that I want to continue tapping into the grid, electricity, water, Ralph's or Publix or Safeway, supermarket, and so forth. I don't mind using any of that stuff, whatever I need it, but I want to create my own sustainability.
Right.
Now, and help you do that as well.
Now, the other thing I was thinking about doing is I wanted to ask you is, since your farms are organic, where are you getting your organic seeds that are GMO free?
That would be our agricultural department. She knows more about that than I do, but I'm well aware of what Monsanto and people like them do in genetically altering the seed so that the seed cannot even reproduce anymore, and a whole bunch of stuff. We know. So in Costa Rica, anyway, we manufacture our own seeds.
You can get
from our own products.
Yeah,
and the farms are already existing. So, I watch what they do over there, their traditional ways. They just leave like the cantaloupe there, and the seeds just naturally come out naturally. And then when it's all dried up, they come through and they collect the seeds out of the cantaloupes. It's just like you're harvesting seeds.
You can also take cuttings, and that's like a powerful tool for growers.
Right.
Hey, I know, Mark, you understood what our brother just said, right?
Yeah, I mean, basically, we need to just be aware of the source of our seeds, where they're coming from, and that the source is reputable and honest. And one of the big things which Carol and I want to make sure that we have on our website is that anyone involved in it is of high integrity. Anyone that provides services representing Visionary Insights Network is of high integrity. Anyone that is being advertised or promoted through Visionary Insights Network, through our radio shows or websites, is of high integrity, and that they know that if they show that they are not of high integrity, even if they are spending advertising dollars, then they will be cut off. and that basically the karma will be theirs to deal with.
Well, of course, and I'm glad to hear that. Good for you.
So
and
we definitely want to work with your people to get this viral package going.
Yeah, got to do that. I mean, these are choices, so I'm in agreement with you. So looks like we have about 4 minutes left.
Yeah, a couple of minutes left. So, I mean, the show will continue to record. It just won't be live streaming.
Okay.
So, what would you like to bring us into closure? And, of course, we're going to be doing more shows with you as well, and with the updates. And, of course, we'll let people know as we are working with our website through your viral package, we will also be promoting it that way as well.
Well, beautiful, and I will be doing the same thing with you, of course. Any way that we can help, we're here. And for anybody that's out there in the audience, really, this is about you. I've enjoyed talking to Cairo in England and with Mark. I believe you're in the Massachusetts area, Mark. Is that correct?
New Hampshire. Yes.
I've enjoyed this time, but I think that this session, this moment, really belongs to you, the listener. And whatever your name is, whoever you are listening right now, I hope that you enjoyed our time together, and that whatever it is that you're wanting to do in life, that you're actually doing it, and that you don't get distracted by so many things that you can be distracted in. And the people that know me know that I'm focused. God called me to do Anastasia and help other people do Anastasia with me. That's what I do. I don't get into politics. And even though I've been in counseling, I've been a minister, and I know how to do therapy for others, I don't get into that either. God, right now, my time in life right now is Anastasia Estates, all-inclusive, pay-it-forward communities, because that's the vision, the dream that I had initially, where I was helping multitudes of people. And so that's what Anastasia set up for. Anastasia set up to help you help others, to help you pay it forward, and to help other people pay it forward. And we're doing that. We're a living, breathing, walking testimony of people working together and making change, being the change, being love in action. No longer playing victim, no longer complaining about the past. Be empowered by the past. Be empowered by your future. Live empowered today. And we're creating the communities that will empower you every day, so that now you don't just get a fancy seminar, motivational speech, but you get a beautiful, lovely community that is motivating on an everyday basis.
Yeah, thanks for sharing with us. It's awesome, inspiring as well.
Right. And what we do is, everyone tune in to the websites. I've put them all in the chat, and we will close out the show with a beautiful song that I think you'll love, Joseph. "New Beginnings" by Samaria.
Great.
You're gonna love the song. It's so beautiful.
Wow. Well, God bless. I guess are we signing off now, or?
Yeah, the show is just about done now.
Okay.
Listen to the
God
song,
bless
Joseph.
everybody. Love y'all.
Yeah, listen to the song.
Life seems wrong, friends are gone. What more can life bring to you? Now's the time to change your mind, turn things around. You will find, just like I, a new beginning will come round. You will see, just like me, as wings take flight. Leap of faith, don't look down. Keep moving forward beyond. Change will come, turn things around. You will find, just like I, a new beginning coming round. Keep moving forward, keeping on. Soon you will notice new life has begun. You will find peace of mind, the strength to go on. You will find life is kind. Keep moving forward beyond as you fly. A new beginning coming round. Like me, as wings take flight, leap of faith, don't look down, keep moving forward beyond as you fly. A new beginning coming round. A new beginning coming round. Keep moving forward, keeping on. Soon you will notice a new life has begun. You will find peace of mind, the strength to go on. You will find life is kind. Keep moving forward beyond as you fly. A new beginning coming round as you fly. A new beginning coming round.